The mandate we've been given is in Psalms 2, where he says, ask of me for the nations, and I'll give them to you as your inheritance. And the Lord gave this commission that was just absolutely impossible. He gave it to 12 men. He said, disciple nations. And he gave it to the church, to the body of Christ, that we're to actually bring nations into a place of discipleship before God. God has a heart for nations to be completely transformed and saved. And we have been given a mandate and an opportunity to really step in, to give influence on a national and international level. So that's the mandate we have, is to raise up people that can infiltrate the systems, to bring the reality of King Jesus, his presence, his power, his order, his government, his structure, his method of life, his method of honor, treatment of other peoples, to bring that into nations. And that's the mandate we've been given. My role, your role, this house, is to export. It means our job isn't to go around telling, just teaching and ministering out of our gift. Our job is to take what we are experiencing on a local church level, what we're experiencing on a citywide level, taking a portion of that. That's our message now. Our message is not just a teaching, but our message is something that's been lived out in the culture of a local church, demonstrated in the culture of a community, a city, taking that piece to another place and transplanting it, imparting it to people. So we're not just talking about a theory, a concept, a principle. We're talking about something that's been tested in the environment of local church and city life. And that's what we do. We're exporters. I don't ever want to change that. But my heart burns to be able to say, you know what, let's experiment at home. Let's get it working. Let's get the wrinkles ironed out of this thing. And let's get a model that can be duplicated anywhere in the world. And let's get that model. And it's not American culture, it's revival culture. And let's take it somewhere and let's plant it. Let's plant it through Jesus culture. Let's plant it through the music we write. Let's plant it through the conferences that we do, the conferences that we bring in people for, so that what gets modeled makes Jesus famous and really brings his presence into culture, into the environment. You know, everybody needs to have access to what God is doing. And that's kind of our mandate, is just is not to pretend like that we're the answer, because that would be kind of dumb. But we know the answer.
Yeah.
We know the person. We know what his presence is like. We know what it looks like when he shows up. We know what it is to see impossible things turn around. And we've got to do everything we can do to make sure that becomes available to everybody who's hungry, as long as we have opportunity to make that stuff, to bring it within reach when people can grab a hold of that. That's the mandate. Truth is what sets people free. We got to get the truth of the reality of a gospel of power, an authentic gospel that confronts and changes stuff. We've got to do everything we can to make that available. You know, all the conferences, it's always to train people so that they can take it home. All of our miniature schools with 45, 50 leaders, it's always so that they will succeed apart from us. I mean, we love a relationship. I love partnerships. But I don't want people to be Bethel dependent in a negative sense. Partnerships are wonderful, but it's not, we haven't succeeded if Reading becomes a place where everyone has to come to get a miracle. We've only succeeded if it's spreading all over the world and people can go to, you know, as is happening. And so what we're doing is we're just taking the mandate the Lord's given us, and the mandate is to equip and train and release people. And that's our joy in life, is just to do that. But to do it well, we've got to improve on our facilities, and that's why we're probably behind, if truth be known. We're trying to catch up with the crowd that is moving from all over the earth. 990 students, you know, this last year, coming from all over the world. 250 internationals coming, selling everything. People just selling their homes, their business, doing everything just to come to be trained. Because this is a moment in history. It's a moment when people are willing to pay any price to get it and to take it back to their city, their nation, somewhere. And we got to move when God's moving. And that's what we're doing. But at this point, the call that we have, it requires a partnership and involvement that's outside of the local church, because the local church can't build this one.
Right.
This one's got to be done, because as people, we gather together from around the world and we say, this is important. We've got to pour ourselves into this one. And that's kind of where we're at right now. It's just really, really tapping into our friends and family around the world and looking for partners for what God's called us to build. And it's the local church, yes, but it's bigger than that. It's a resource center that I think really is releasing models to impact cities and nations.
Well, thanks for sharing your heart with us today.
Yeah.
It means a lot.
My pleasure, as always.